What's up, people? Back where it all started, in my unassuming office. The only thing missing is a changing table. And I'd like to take this moment right now to thanks everybody. Thanks everybody. Still slurring my speech, and that's probably going to come to an end once I stop smoking the Buddha. Maybe I shouldn't say these things. Maybe I reveal too much about myself. Maybe I talk about how I feel a little bit too much. Maybe I frighten people sometimes with my psychoticness and split personality and my manic depression and all that stuff. But again, it wouldn't be the same. Each day you open up the television or whatever you watch this thing on, otherwise known as the internet, your computer. You stand there, you wait to see something happen. You want to know what kind of reaction I'm going to have to certain things. You want to know how I'm feeling about different situations in this environment. You want to know more about what's going on. You want to learn how to trade. You want to try how to make money. You want to feel good about yourself, right? All of those things, people. As Forrest Gump said, life's like a box of chocolate. You open up the box and it's a melty, disgusting mess of grossness. The writing was on the wall, right? If you look back right now, if you watch my videos, and
oh, here he goes again, talking about how he saw this coming and how he's so smart and he knows everything.
In a way, yes. Yes, I am going to say all of that. I expressed. Now, remember when I talk about how the Dow was going to 20,000? That was anger and rage speaking.
Oh, there he goes again. Here he comes. Watch him. Watch him.
When I say these things about the market going up, always, never detracting, is it detracting the right word? Never straying from the path of knowing this, that the market is the matrix, disconnected from reality. Remember that? And I said if the government's going to continue buying stocks, there's no way we should get in its way. QE1, QE2. But then we were wondering how come the market didn't crash when they finally announced QE2 was ending. Because the matrix would make it too simple. The matrix was waiting for me to go on vacation. The powers that be were waiting for me not to be able to get to a computer in time to save myself. The matrix likes to toy with me. Now, as you know, people, we were hitting all pretty much 10-year highs on the Qs, and that's normally the vehicle that I choose to short. I don't go near some of these stocks. Now, before the Qs collapsed, what did we have? We had those high-flying stocks that we all came to hate, like the Yoku came cratering in, right? Then we had the open tables. And the list, you know the list that I was talking about, the stocks that we could probably short because these companies are not really making as much money to warrant the stock price. And there's always those stocks that nobody can make any sense of. They keep going up until they crash, which brings me to why that was the writing on the wall. The earnings were coming out, and some of these earnings reports were actually good. You had all your talking heads on CNBC talking about how great these earnings were, but yet the stocks were not acting accordingly because they had gotten ahead of themselves. It was priced in, as they like to say. But then we started getting some nasty hits, like the Yoku was getting destroyed. The Chinese stocks were giving it up. There was no leadership in the market. And what did I say about no leadership? It makes the market uncertain. The fear had not come in yet, but the uncertainty had. And that's why I was telling people to get to cash. 100% cash was the best play you can do. And that was still when the Qs were still rallying and still almost hitting highs. Don't deny that, people, what I was saying. And again,
oh, here he comes again. He's going to talk about how he's never wrong in the secret fucking chat room of his. That's what he's going to say.
Yes, I'm going to say that. There's two chat rooms that I have. Okay, one was created by one of the guys from my old chat room just so we could hang out somewhere, and that's generally where we've been posting most of our ideas. Again, you've got to get through the fart jokes and the nastiness and the racism, because if you don't know, we joke, and sometimes if you walk in there and some of the stuff that's said in that room, we're not, oh, actually, I'm speaking for myself now because we're all talking about lunatics out in cyberspace, the 20 or 30 people that come in and out of the chat room. Maybe some of you are a full-blown racist out there burning crosses on people's lawns. I don't know. This is the internet. I don't really know who you people are. And again, you don't know who I am, which is really the best part of all this. But anyway, let's go back to the chat room. What were we talking about in the chat room? Okay, what were we talking about the chat room? And when I have a really, really good trade, what did I tell you I was going to be doing? I would be posting it to the StockTwits website. So yesterday we had the CREE trade, and it made complete sense. CREE, C-R-E-E. when Panel was having this amazing move, I said, let's look at the Cree, because the perfect storm has hit. If this is a situation where you have I would say an 80 to 85% chance of making money, because the market was hitting lows, crashing, you're coming into a stock that has absolutely got destroyed, talking about Cree now, Panel was in the same boat, you had the Cree. So I was like, you know what, the $30 calls were $1 and change. I was like, you know what, you might as well go in the money and take those 27.5 calls at 2.5, basically buying the stock at 30. Now again, I said I wasn't going to be risking a lot of money anymore, gambling on these earnings, because that's what this is. We're taking calculated risks, yes, but we're also gambling on what these companies will say and how they will react in the earnings, after the earnings report. We don't know. We're basing it on what we saw in the panel. So, stock opens up. After the earnings report, starts to go down. Next thing you know, stabilizes itself and is creeping higher in the aftermarket. Now here's the sad part. We have one of our noobs in the office who decided to go short the Cree. And I told him, listen, stocks that I sell out of, because before the earnings came out, well, let me talk about how I'm not always right. I bought the Cree at 28 and change, stopped out at some at 28, and I think I managed to lose $600 intraday trading Cree. And then on the way back up, I bought it back, solely on a revenge trade. I wasn't about to allow this stock to go back up without me being in it, so I made close to the $600 back, but then I sold the common, and I just bought 2 calls, people. Here I am trading 20,000 share blocks of the Qs during the crash of a century, and I'm buying 2 calls for $250, risking $500, because I look at it differently. I look at this is a gamble, and the other situation was a trade, which I was, whatever. I had 20,000 Qs long, which is absurd. All right, making this short story longer. So the Cree comes out with the earnings. So I tried to buy it once the knee-jerk reaction in the aftermarket happens. Generally, the knee-jerk reaction is wrong. If the knee-jerk reaction is right, there's immense follow-through, and there's no chance of you even trading that stock in the aftermarket. But the knee-jerk reaction on Cree was down. It stabilized and started creeping up. Right there, we knew we had a winner. But one of our rookies in the office, and I'm not making fun of him, but this is what I can teach people. He decides to get short the stock because his first reaction was, it's weak. The numbers aren't that good. And he saw the stock going down. So when he jumped in short, he thought, well, it'll just roll back over. And then I explained to him how things work in my world. I said, listen, first of all, I don't own the stock anymore, and I don't plan to buy the stock here in the aftermarket. So generally, the stock will continue. Taking in account that the panel had close to like a 27% move at the time, I was expecting Cree to open up at $33 tomorrow, and the stock was still only $30, $30.16, I think it was, $30.20. And he refused to take my advice. Obviously, we just met maybe a few weeks ago. This is one of our new guys. And I said to him, there's no way you can hang on to this stock short overnight, because all the shorts that got trapped like you are now going to be panicking, and it's going to just keep going up till 8 o'clock, till the market closes. And then it's going to gap again tomorrow. And then if it's one of the strong stocks, everybody's going to flock to it because there are people who are looking for some leadership. So why not jump on the Cree? All valid points, all things that came true. And the worst part about it was that I was trying to explain to him psychologically, you don't want to take this loss because somewhere inside you, you think that it'll roll over. Your gut's telling you. This is what he was telling me. And I said to him, right now, you're fighting the market and you're trading on emotion instead of what's being shown to you. Get out now, take a small loss. So instead, he managed to hang on to the Cree short the entire day. It got worse and worse and worse, and eventually what happens is there's a point where you have to get out. And that's the point where normally the stock will reverse down to insult you even more. So when he covered his short, I didn't want to be a douchebag about it, but I was going short at that point at around 35.75 because it had just topped out at around 36. It's a situation where these videos, you're thinking, what could this schmuck tell me? But here I was trying to coach this guy through this position that he was in, and everything I told him and everything that he was doing, I could see on his face what he was going through and why he was doing what he was doing. I tried to explain to him, and again, you can only either take my advice or tell me to go screw off because you know more than I do. This time it played out that I was right and he was wrong, and he got hurt for it. Okay, so hang on a second. We're rallying like a bat out of hell right now. So that's one thing. So in the Cree trade, congratulations to everybody that traded that. Let's see what they are now. I was out of that stock before it even made this substantial move. The $30 calls now, 27.5 calls are $7.85. We were in at $2.50. I sold immediately at the open, like I always do, because I'm a schmuck, and I missed out on the move. And again, exasperating the move to the upside. Exasperating. I use big words to try to act smart, like the situation. Does anybody see the situation? I'm not going to get into it right now, but the situation needs to be put down. The guy needs to go. I can appreciate his persona on the Jersey Shore is one thing, but every time he's interviewed, the guy has no grasp of the English language. He has no idea what's going on. No brain capacity. He makes me feel so uncomfortable that I want him gone, because he made me feel that uncomfortable about society, about human life, about America, about everything. He made me feel so uncomfortable that something needs to be done. So please, just call it a career, buddy, because it's going to end poorly for you. It's going to end poorly for you. Soon your cubes are not going to get you anywhere, and you're not a very attractive fella, okay? You're not. Deal with it. And I know there's stupider women out there that'll find you awesome for the rest of your life. Go do that, but please, take it somewhere private. Enough. Enough. So going back to what's happening now and the main point that I wanted to make. SODA. Boom and bust. This is what happens when you have a stock that gets ahead of itself. Really now, as we all sat there in astonishment as the stock continued to go to $70, $80. Where did it go to? $80 soda went to. And now it's trading down 20 on probably an earnings beat. You know why? Because it shouldn't have went up that far. But these are one of those stocks. Those are the kind of stocks that options comes in handy. Because you can't stay short a stock like that. You never know, especially when a stock goes to 80 bucks. A lot of times it'll just squeeze to 100, then maybe it'll pop. And if it's a real stock, it'll go to 100, 120 and keep going. You can't get in the way of these freight trains, as we always say. But that's what options are for. If you thought now would be the time to give soda a shot, you give yourself a little bit of a cushion, you buy some out-of-the-money puts, and if it does crash like you think it's going to do, bang, you're making a sick amount of money. I mean, for the stock to be down 20, that's astonishing in itself. Stock's down almost 30% right now. That's what happens. And that's the environment that we're in, and that's the environment that we're going to stay in. Boom and bust, people. That's all the stock market is about right now. That's all the stock market is about right now. Buy and hold is dead. Dead. You'll have your select high-flying stocks that keep going, and eventually those, most of the time, have some sort of big crash eventually. CMG hasn't given anything back yet, but I'm expecting Priceline and Netflix to give up one of these days. But there's so many things that I need to tell you. 15 minutes I know is a long time to speak on these videos. That's why once we get the website up and running, all we're going to be doing is going to be doing this all day. We'll be going over, we'll be able to rehash instead of me just trying to spew it all out in one stream of consciousness. All right? Well, anyway, again, thanks for everybody that's been a part of this for the last 4 or 5 years. I hope you enjoyed the 1,000th video. It was really bad timing on our part because we wanted to do the 1,000th video, but in the meantime, we should have been doing out in the street videos of me running around with swords and, you know, a pack of wolves like I wanted to. But soon those videos are coming. So remember, make sure you stick with us because we're going to make the biggest, best family of traders there's ever been. All right. Hit the bid forever, people. Embrace the horror. Enjoy your day.
I would much prefer Krull.